Hi again. Here I am, Lee. And I'm so happy you're here. And we are now on week 2 time, part 4, dealing with entrepreneurial ADD or BSO syndrome demystified. So as soon as I tell you, when I say entrepreneurial ADD, everybody like, oh yeah, that's me. Of course. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with being an entrepreneur. Why do we want to do this in the first place, right? We did this because we didn't want to be under anybody's thumb or anybody's control. We didn't want to be constricted. We wanted to be free. We wanted to create, blah, 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 all these things. And what happens is that it's just, what is it? It's distractions. It's distractions. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to veer off the path, right? And it's just so easy to do because we're always looking, well, maybe this will work for a number of reasons. I will tell you, it's like, sometimes you go, well, maybe this, when you're not in a great money situation because you're trying to start, you say, oh, maybe this will work, maybe this will work, maybe this will work, maybe this will work. You're just trying anything and everything to make something work. And the challenge is that why nothing works is it's because our head is not in the right place. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. And that's what it is. We're easily distracted. Now, we can come up with all sorts of reasons. If you go back to the pre-program module, we talk about above the line, below the line, right? When you are below the line, you are blaming, you're making excuses, and you're in denial. A lot of us, when we are going through our entrepreneurial ADD and living in BSO syndrome, suffering from BSO syndrome, we're below the line. So we make excuses as to why we need to do what we need to do. But it's distraction. It's just plain and simple distraction. So the question is, why do we allow ourselves to be distracted? Ponder that for a second. There's many reasons why we allow ourselves to be distracted, right? And generally, when we allow ourselves to be distracted, it actually is not coming from a place of power. It comes from a place of reaction. It comes from a place of going with the flow. And it comes from a place of not focusing. Right. So parts 1, parts 2, parts 3 may not have actually seemed that they had much to do with time, but the truth is, they really are at the essence of it. Where we're going on this journey in time here is to help you get focused, right? Focused on what you want and where you're going. Mostly where you're going and who you're going to help. Because once you have that in place, it's easier to stay on course. It's easier to, go through your mission and keep moving towards your mission and your vision, which leads to your vision, right? So that's why we went through all that before we actually got to nitty-gritty of time. Because it's really all the distractors. There are so many, we can have a lot of distractors if we really want to, but there's so many things that we do over the course of the day that we allow ourselves to get distracted, that it's no wonder we get anything done, right? I mean, how many times have you said to yourself, you're working really hard, you're working really long all day, all night, and everything else, and then you're ready to go to bed, and you're like, what did I actually even accomplish today? Did I even accomplish anything? And you can't remember. I'm no different. At one point, I was the queen of entrepreneurial ADD. In fact, it was with one of the coaches, one of the best coaches I've ever worked with. And he says, Lay, you have entrepreneurial ADD, and we need to nip that in the bud. And he was really good. And I'll tell you, every time I go off course, I hear Tom saying, like, Lay, it's of course it is my hope. And my clients tell me this all the time. My past clients and my current clients is like when they start doing something, all of a sudden they hear my voice in the back of them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember now." So that's my hope for you. So that's what it is, because we can't do all things. We can't be all things to all people all the time. Master, jack of all trades and master of none. And because we're allowing things to get in the way, and the last section, the last part of this is going to be the most important, the most crucial, which is why it's the last part, because we got to ease you into it. It's so important. But, and so what I want you to start thinking about, and what we're going to talk about, well, what matters and what does not matter? And what are you proactively doing things, or are you reactively doing things? Right? When you're proactively doing things, you're coming from a place of empowerment and empower. When you're reactively doing things, then you're coming from a place of a victim, or like, oh, let's whatever. You have no control. You're out of control, right? Because you're reacting. And that's not going to help you, and it's certainly not going to help your clients, and it's certainly not going to serve you impacting the world in a great way. Please, don't get me wrong. I can't tell you how many businesses that I walk into, and they're multi-million dollar businesses with 200 employees, and it's reactive. It's reactive. Like, God bless them that they've been able to get as far as they've gotten in a reactive mode. But think about where they could be if they were proactive and they were taking control and they were doing things from a place of power. Right? I mean, you are proactive, and you're doing it from a place of power and strength, and let's do this. And when you're doing things from a reactive standpoint, you are doing this from a place of weakness, of victimhood. No judgments, just, maybe that's a little bit of a aha moment, right? So certainly there are things that we cannot control. Hello, I've got 6 dogs in my house right now. So you can imagine there's certain things that are totally out of my control. I get that. And yes, we say let go and let God. Yes. So in those situations, you got to let go, let God, and adapt. There are times we definitely have to. I'm not saying it never happens. But for the most part, 80% of the time, 80% of anything we do, we can. It's whether or not we choose to or don't choose to. And the reason why we don't choose to often as entrepreneurs and business owners is because, then, we're not being our free self. But not being our free self all the time is only going to limit how far we can go. Certainly how fast we can go. And I know that you are really ready to make that impact now. And you are really ready to be there and be that part of the world that's helping and serving people and making the world a better place. So you can choose to do it from a place of power, or you can choose to do it from a place of power and victorhood, or you can choose to do it from a place of weakness and victimhood. So what's your choice? Okay, thought so. So what are typical distractors of the day? Well, we all know Facebook can be a huge distractor, right? Even for those like me who basically run their business on Facebook, it can be a big distractor. Other distractors. Email can be a very big distractor. Phone calls could be a distractor. In my case, animals could be a distractor. Right? So, where I'm going with this. Discovery, here's your discovery question is, what are the distractors in your day? I just want you to, again, and I've said this before, but if I haven't, just while you're in your day and doing what you're doing and everything else, just kind of observe what you're doing. I would say, if you're up for it, good, game on, good for you. You could do this, but set an alarm for every 30 minutes. And when that alarm goes off, just take a note. What am I doing in this moment? Is it furthering my mission, or is it taking away from my mission? Is it growing my business or keeping me where I am? it's a fun little exercise to do. Not always easy, but and it's simple, but it's not always easy. But it is fun. So you do that. You set it for, and again, these are all going to be in the. I think we're discovering today. We're just discovering with this one. It's a great way to discover, what is going on and what's taking your time, and just take notice of what goes on in your day. How much time how often do you answer emails? How much time are you actually spending on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever? How much time are you spending on social media? How much time are you just perusing the internet, watching whatever your choice of crack is, YouTube, whatever it is, how much time are you doing there? How much time are you just, I don't know, whatever. I mean, and you can think about it, but there's all sorts of different things that we do during the day. And it's really, really, I'm not saying you can't do them, you can do them. I just want you to take notice of them. But we need to take control of how we use our day. If you're working in if you're in an office and you have your office and you have your team around doing everything else, how often are you letting your team just walk in and everything else disrupt your day? So here's what I want you to do. Of course, some of these questions are going to be in the discovery sheets. Just look at what you're doing and just take note. Just take note of the things that are distracting you during your day that are keeping you from your mission. And just become aware of it. Because guess what? Once you're aware of it, because you don't know what you don't know, right? So now you're moving to, you do know what you don't know. So now you're aware of it. So now you can actually do something about it. And just notice it and write it down and make a list. No judgment, just make a list, right? Because we need to know where we are so that we can get where we want to get. I don't care if you're in New York or London or Zambia or Tokyo or Oshkosh Bagosh, Wisconsin. It doesn't matter. We need to know where you are, because nothing can move forward until we know where you really are, you actually are. And that's what we're doing here in this program, right? So just make note, all right? And then think about ways that you can take control of that. How can you become master of your own ship when it comes to your distractors? I'll tell you what I do. Facebook aside somewhat, but email, I only check email twice a day. I have one person I'm working with, one person who I'm working with, and all they want to do is correspond by email. And they're constantly asking, I'm like, oh my God. And they don't understand why I don't respond. It's like, because I only check my email twice a day. If you have customers calling you up all at any given time, oh gosh, this is the biggest distractor. Emails and phone calls and Facebook messages. All that kind of thing. The people who contact you, who want your attention right away, who want you to help them or something or serve them. Now, what is our tendency? Oh my gosh, yes, I'm here to serve. I'm going to serve you, blah, blah, blah. Great. But the problem is, here's what happens. When you get that text, that email, that Facebook message, that fill in the blank, when you get that, you're not prepared for it mentally, physically, or in any way, shape, or form. So, and on top of that, you're doing something else, right? Whatever that else is. So now you have this pattern interrupt because you're focused. Let's say you're putting together a program. You're putting together a program. You're painting. Whatever you're doing, you're putting together. You're working on something. You're doing something. It doesn't really, whatever it is, you're doing it. Now you get this. Let's call it a phone call now you're going to get this phone call. Now what happens is, like, your phone rings. You're like, oh my gosh, it's my client. I got to answer the phone. So now you have to stop what you're doing. Whoops, you got to stop what you're doing over here. Turn around, pick up your phone, and answer it. You don't know well, you may know, but you don't know why they're calling, but still, you're not in that headset. You're not in that mindset of dealing with this phone call. You're in this mindset. You're not in this mindset. So there's a disconnect. So now you have to get into that. You're going to miss a few seconds or whatever of the call and everything else to figure out what's going on. Now you're going to focus on that focus on that call. You're going to do whatever however long that takes way longer than, well, you didn't have it in your schedule. You weren't thinking about doing it. So it's taking way much more time than you expected or anticipated. Now what happens? You resolve it, blah, 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 yay, happy, good, bye. Oh, now you go back to what you're doing over here. And you're like, where the heck was I? Huh. Then you have to go back and backtrack. You would be surprised how much of your day and your time that wastes because you've done this. So for those things, I always have certain hours. You can call me between blah, blah, blah. I answer emails this time. I do phone calls at this time. I return texts and messages that time. Whatever it is, just come up with something so that people know. Or just say, I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Unless you work with an industry, all right, this is a little bit more than 15 minutes. Unless you're working in an industry where you literally are dealing with life, death issues, like in a hospital, then everything else can happen in due time. And that's about training, which we'll talk about in the module 4. Yeah, faithful followers. All right. Oh, distraction. But you notice I'm ignoring them and I'm focusing on you. Anyhow, that's it. So think about that. And of course, you're going to have some discovery work to do. Bye. Discovery sheets. Bye. Why do I do that? Bye.